Hello, welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and World Eaters Chaos Spawn in particular to that 6+++ show. I'm your host, Tom. I'm joined once again by Chris, Scrivo, and Jack. We've been doing a Codex tier list, and we've done part one already. So we've done a bunch of tier lists, and we're going to be continuing that. Which means that it's going to be time for us to dive straight in and continue. What I want to do is dive back in so that we don't break too much transition for those who are already listening along to part one. And then we are going to do promotions and catch-ups and other things a little bit of the way into the show. So that's what we'll be doing. As you can see, we've already covered a whole bunch of armies, but we're going to be working our way through chronologically, and I'll be interested to see where we've got to next. Someone's fan I can still hear quite loudly. I don't know whose that is. But as we do that, let's carry on. Where had we got up to chronologically? Where were we up to on our timeline?
I think it was Eldari next.
Yeah.
Is it actually? That's very spicy indeed.
We've got one that we've missed though, which was the Blood Angels supplement.
Oh, the Blood Angels supplement.
List.
Okay, beautiful. So we can field the Blood Angels supplement before we get into the meaty pie that is Eldari. Yeah. How do we feel? Chris, you're a Blood Angels main.
Blood Angels main, mate.
How do you feel about the Blood Angels supplement?
Well, as we know, when it came out, it was out there.
Yeah.
It was a book.
It was a book
that existed. Blood Angel people played it. Obviously, Liberator Assault Group was kind of was immediately quite powerful to an extent. It had some oomph to it. No one really dived into. Well, people tried the other ones, which I found quite interesting, especially because now we know that Angelic Inheritors has actually got some good play.
Yes.
Mainly because Jack Hartz has started doing well with it.
Yes.
But, if you want to go and punch people in the face, I remember when it first came out, everyone was raving about Mephiston and how broken he was. Like the most insane character ever, low not, feel no pain, fights first, advance and charge. Within like 3 weeks, everyone had dropped him.
Yes.
Cowards.
He's just a poor man's Barry Agneson anyway.
So, I mean, over time, it's kind of... It's obviously recently it had the points changes with where Sanguinary Guard, came down. They had few points drops, which no one really thought they needed. And then, obviously, they've made some adjustments since then the other way. Does it have much depth to it? I mean, I would say that it's a shame that, when you've got, 3 detachments, so you've got lag, but you've also got the
there's the uppy downy one, right?
The uppy downy one, which no one uses.
Which I've never seen used. There's a Death Company one you'd never see used.
Yeah. I've seen it used once. It was awful.
Okay, good.
So one of those...
These feel like incredibly fertile themes for detachments. So it's quite amazing, really, that we've not seen them, which must speak to how bad they must be, right? Because I can't believe that Blood Angel players wouldn't have tried these if they were at least half
I know
feasible.
Some people always... I remember, I think Scrivo's... I know someone in the Discord was like, I feel I'm going to try the Death Company one. And then he was like, no.
Not even one.
I want to think it's Ed. I think that was an Ed thing that happened where he was like, "I'm going to make it
one
work.
day." Ed will do it, and it'll be like, he'll be like,
he'll win
maxed out Death Company, and then a wall behind them or something like that.
I know Siegler tried the uppy downy one, but he just didn't quite have the chops. The Angelic Inheritors is the Grotmus one, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it's got some element of flavour to it. I think it's it's not groundbreaking. I think it's a shame that the majority of people do take lag. You'd obviously, in an ideal world, it'd be spread around.
Yes.
I mean, it seems kind of like fine as things go.
I think on paper, Blood Angels should always be the single most exciting flavour of Space Marine, right? They are the fast hit people ones.
Yeah.
They have incredible lore. They are the only vanilla Space Marines that speak to me particularly because they are a bit interesting and they've got the kind of edgier, darker side to them. They took Gabriel Seth out of the book, which is obviously obviously unforgivable.
And Chris's hero got taken out as well, which basically should score it down.
Tycho
right?
got taken out. Here's my son.
level.
My Seth is now just a rage-fueled warrior captain for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But
So is my Tycho.
GW's done that to him.
I think.
Go on, Jack. Go on.
I think this codex was like right at the tail end of the period of time. Like there was a chain of codexes where everyone was kind of like hoping that their codex wouldn't come out because they were all just worse than Index. And this was kind of that as well because
yes, I agree.
I think people kind of just lost. There wasn't a lot of like fanfare, a lot of interest in this because the big unit that everyone was using before this was Death Company, and they just got nerfed through the floor with their getting box locked, taking all their metal pistols away and stuff.
Yeah, they're 10 re-rolling melter pistols per squad.
Yeah, and I
It's
feel
fine,
like,
Tom. There's nothing wrong with that, and 10 power fists at the same
My
time.
word, that was bonkers, wasn't it? That was a
so
different time.
yeah, I think people lost a lot of interest because it was a lot of the nurse came through. But this is this is towards the end of the era of if you get a codex, it's going to be just worse than your index kind of era of rules writing. That kind of time starts to turn around from this point onwards.
Oh, I don't know.
Mostly.
Technically, Jack, the next book is worse than its index, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Oh God!
We'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, I think there's one or two cool bits. I think people have gradually found that plugging in some of the little captain characters and some of the named characters that aren't the named characters in Blood Angels gives you some interesting combos. There was some fun lists with Death Company captains that do some interesting stuff.
That really fun time where all the Blood Angels lists had no Blood Angels characters.
Oh, the Bloodless Angels.
Yes, that was the blood. That was the Bloodless Angels. That was a really cool time. They they got the first blood surging vehicle, which is a good time. The Death Company Dreadnought, who can blood surge into the enemy and then still be shot, which unfortunately slightly limits his capacity to shut down enemy offense.
And in the Death Company detachment, somehow worse.
Yeah. So it's interesting, isn't it?
I think this one was the like epitome of meh, right?
It is meh. I wanted it to be good, and it wasn't very good.
And it wasn't even that bad. I think it's just because people were like hoping for so much more. I think it's just one of those codexes. There was a couple of codexes like this where people just like because it wasn't really good or there wasn't anything in there that really sparked people to try it. There wasn't any real competitive innovation going on for it, and it kind of just got abandoned until something crazy came along, like points drops.
I remember tabling Chris Irvine at Battle of Britain with a book that didn't land fair, and he was playing Blood Angels, and it was like, that's really cute, but it's not 3,600 points of stuff. So, and that was the sort of meta into which it arrived. And it just, as you say, if a book like that comes out and there's a bunch of bonkers stuff going on, it doesn't get the love that it needs, right, to thrive. It doesn't get the exploration at all.
And then to dogpile on that, the models that were released with it were polarizing for people. So the Death Company becoming upgrade kits, and the Dreadnought basically getting a thing stuck on it.
Absolutely.
And Sangard feeling plain to a lot of people.
Off about the Sangard losing their wings.
I get it, but at the same time, I guess that then, if it's already not exciting, people aren't going to grin and go, fine, I'll just get on with painting these models I hate because they're giga-fucked good. Yes. Because that's not the case, right? So
no, for sure. And I quite like Lag. I think Lag is a perfectly fun detachment with some cool things going on. But it's not. There's nothing crazy. The most interesting unit in the book is the Sanguinor, who is a unit I love, but any sensible person will tell you not to use. And yeah, they are cowards, Judd. They're right. They don't want to do 3 wounds to a unit.
And Reavers are good in this book, so that's a reason to.
They are. Reavers are good in this book. But where would you put it, Chris? Where do you think it ends up?
I mean, somewhere in C tier. Is it better than Dark Angels?
Yes, Chris. It definitely is.
Right. Sweet.
Especially when released, it was better. It was at least the units had play.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it goes really fast and it hits things. So it's always going to have some play out there in the world.
There we go. Bomber B.
Bomber B seems very reasonable. Yeah, I think that's entirely fair. It's kept plugging away. It has kept turning up. It has been prevalent. But it's not been. It's
fine
not
on a power level front. It's just kind of boring.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
It's very honest, I guess, in some respects, right?
So speaking of
not honest
and on a level power wise, let's talk about the Eldari book. Now, this is absolutely incredible. I've been playing it for a few weeks. It is the single easiest set of rules to play I've ever played in my entire life, because you just go so fast and you hit so hard and you put exactly the luck you need where you need it. And all your rules are mental, and every unit is specialised to the nines to do jobs. What do you think about it, Chris, as another Eldar lover?
I think it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, if we look at our, like, kind of the parameters that we're trying to deal with in terms of what do we want from a codex. Well, I remember when you and I first read through it and we went through every detachment, and we were like, these have all got good rules. These are all powerful, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a tick, right? You want many of you as a player get a new book. You want to have a wide range of things that you can play.
Yeah,
so that's great. The data sheets, there were obviously some adjustments and that sort of thing. Some things got changes, some got upgrades, some got nerfed. But again, there's a lot of depth there. I mean, I remember when Mordaka was a thing and chatting to John Swallow, and he was putting in, was it the Shadow Weavers or something? One of the
the little D cannon. That's
and
a really good weapon.
As soon as they move, they just keep taking mortals and blah blah blah. And the test has been over however long it's been out now.
8 months.
8 months.
It still feels like a new and dangerous book.
And you could quite easily go and be successful with even now the majority of the detachments.
Yeah, right? I agree. I think we've seen successful lists with the Wraith Host one recently. There was one that popped up that went undefeated with just basically a bunch of wraiths in the avatar. That was that, and so that's just damage reduction.
We said another thing we said was that you don't want the book to be solved straight away. No. And I remember when everyone was talking about Aspect and Warhost, it actually took a few weeks before people suddenly cottoned on to Ynnari.
Yes.
Then we had the Ynnari time. Then it's obviously back to Aspect.
Yeah, we sort of circled back to the stuff we wanted to be the best at the start.
Yeah,
it's now the best.
And
Wind Rider Host has also been incredible and terrifying the whole way through that time as well.
Guardian Battle Host not really touched, but
that's legitimately got great tools.
Really great stuff in. So the depth is there. Like, it basically ticks all of the boxes that you could want from a book, realistically, if you're the one playing it.
And battle focus feels phenomenal when you are, like, in terms of the agency you have and the control you have and the sort of 4-step plan to a battle round you have with it. It's nuts. And you just, I think for me, I greatly preferred it to the Index rule set, where it did feel like the Index just picked people up and it didn't really matter what they did at all. Whereas I think with this, there is still that application of things,
and the trickery that you.
And the vast majority of the builds in that book will be tabled if they are hit in fair terms pretty happily, which the Index definitely didn't have going for it. But yeah, I mean, wildly powerful, right? And wildly
in the right hands, very very powerful.
Yeah, So it's got to be up there. I think it absolutely has to be up there as among the best. I don't know what you and John think, Jack. I'm sure you have your thoughts.
I'm sure Jack has opinion.
I mean, so the Codex came out, right, and I remember looking at it, and I remember looking at the data sheets and going through them, and every single data sheet, right, the Index was already strong for Eldar, we knew that, but every single data sheet is either the same or better, apart from the Crimson Hunter. Every single data sheet took a buff of some kind in terms of rules. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just crazy strong. I think the best way to describe it is that Eldar is a codex that was written for an 11th edition. It just feels like it's a step ahead of everyone else. Like, it's... Don't get me wrong. Like I obviously I'm the biggest Eldar hater, right?
Yeah.
And I think that codex was underrated for a really long time, primarily because, the Eldar Union, of course, the Union of Eldar players.
It was partially about the field it dropped into as well.
Yeah, and the other thing was that there's a lot of armies that came out that are really good into them.
Yes, That's honestly, it feels like that's how they balanced them this time. Is that they've literally repeatedly put rule sets into the world out that hunt them down at a given moment in time.
That's intentional. I think.
I agree. No, I think that's intentional. I suspect they've always had something playing against it in testing that they're like, oh, this beats it, so it's okay. But it's.
In general, I think all the different archetypes of Eldar are pretty well served. I think, in fact, maybe even too well served, because I don't think the Guardian one and the Psycho one needs to be separate. I'm pretty sure you could just whack them together and call it Ulthwé.
I would actually have preferred them combined into Ulthwé as well.
But
we didn't even talk about Seer Council, Chris, which is bananas good.
That had its time, didn't it?
Yeah.
but yeah, there's it got a really good model release as well, a bunch of models that you weren't using before that you're now using.
Yeah.
I think the problem with it is again, it's a good codex. It's just it's playing with a +1 on what everyone else gets, right? Like it's just that's a lot of I'm using your rules but a better version of it.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it was written by someone who's like, I want this, well, maybe my army. I want this army to be cool and I want it to be fun to play and I want it to be awesome. And then they wrote those rules rather than some of the previous codexes, which is like, I want this to not be overpowered.
Yeah,
I want to go to lunch on time.
Yeah,
so.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. And I think, and it's something that's interesting. Obviously, one of the recurring things that comes up in coaching is how do you deal with elves of any type, right? And what I always say is that elves always have better rules than you. So you have to make that matter as little as you can. And the only way you can make that matter is by pressuring it very aggressively and by getting into its only weak spot, which is its stats, right? That is literally the only way. You don't get, if you play a normal game of 40k against elves, you lose. And that's always the way, because they and this book is no exception. If you let it do what it's designed to do for 5 turns, you'll be a crater, right?
Indirect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's
exactly that. It's like anything that breaks that rule is very important to them, and they do have weaknesses into certain things, and there have been plenty of builds that can put them away. But then likewise, this book is always able to redesign and retool and go again, because it just has so many different tools available to it and different hats available to it. So I mean, I know it's personal bias. I would say it's a better book than Necrons because I think it's consistently hung for 8 months with much greater variety and flavour. But I don't know, it's close.
I would have said bottom of S tier rather than top of S tier.
That's fair. Okay.
I think the balance issues with it is a negative for it rather than a positive.
Okay, I mean, it's not like Necrons didn't have balance issues, right?
No, but they just had Canoptech and they nerfed it, and and then that was it. Whereas like the Eldar book is the many-headed Hydra, and they just keep going back. Right, doesn't matter what you seem to change. They're always going to have something that's really strong. Because I just think fundamentally, and it's not the only book that's like that. I think it's just fundamentally, the rules have been written to be so much stronger than what other codex get. They just don't have the restrictions and limitations that other armies do.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
I think probably on that basis, it probably is a flavour to taste amongst your S tiers as to what you like. But yeah, I'm happy to have it in S tier. Let's stick it between Necrons and CSM. I think that seems reasonable. It's certainly it's an interesting one. We do need to pour one out for Harlequins, Chris, who are merely fine amidst all of the amazing stuff.
Very sad times. Like that was actually fuck it, D tier. You know what? Like Harlequins, obviously in past iterations have had such wonderful flavour to their rules.
Yes,
so much jank, and this was very much just they just don't do anything. Like, the
theme is winning.
They just don't have any sort of oomph or trickery or anything. They're just not fun to play, really, which I think is a shame.
Was this the first book that had pseudo allies in its book? So having the Drakari datasheets for Ynnari, like they've done with all the demons and stuff. Was this the first time they did that as a kind of concept?
Yeah, so they freed Drakari from the yoke of being punished for Eldari rules by giving them their own stuff. And actually, I can safely say now from this stage in time that now the Drakari stuff has better rules than the Ynnari stuff, which is nice. It's a nice position for it to finally have arrived in, that Drakari's own units are actually better in their book. So that's nice. It only took a year.
It's a shame they didn't apply this to some of the stuff that's in earlier codexes, because I think there are earlier codexes that would definitely have benefited from this. Looking at GSC mainly, would like to have a few guard sheets in their book. I think that would have really helped them. So, but it is. I think that is a better way to do it than the way they've done it in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's to say, as with most Eldari rule sets, it has been one of the meta-defining forces for the entire time since it came out, and it will continue to be until it finally hits the point where it's garbage. But I just don't see how this book can be, really. I think it's, as long as everyone else is playing this edition, I think it will hang. It'll hang pretty well.
It's curious to see which the cool new innovative rules that they got will be in other books for 11th edition, right?
but certainly
like the Downy stuff, right?
the comparative feel and punch and power and agency of it. Having just been playing GSC for several months, for that first event where I took it out to Glasshammer with no reps at all, and was just absolutely eviscerating people with it because it's just absurd. It is such a good set of rules. It's a lot of fun. Okie dokie. So, what came next?
Oh gosh, it was Astra Militarum.
The Guard. So, Jack, tell us a story.
Super interesting one, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think in terms of theme, it's pretty dead on. You know, the book does focus on three famous regiments, being the Cadians, Catachans, and Krieg. And there are detachments for each of them with combined recon and siege regiment. You also have the all tanks hammer, and then you also have the transport one, which is kind of like your Steel Legion of Armageddon kind of guys. But then there are so many different regiments that you can fit into those categories as well. You know, like if you've got Chem Dogs, you can just put that in recon and flavor it in your head as being, you know, like urban warfare, right? That's that sort of thing. So same goes for Mordian, Iron Garden combined, right, and stuff like that. So there's a lot that you can do there. So I think you're pretty well served in terms of theme. In terms of they also had a nice job of switching up what was good in the previous codex, somewhat. So don't get me wrong, there's some stuff that's remained good across both, but there is a lot of the same stuff, like you know, Kassakin are still good, Gaunt's Ghosts are still good, but you won't be seeing things like Lehman Russ Tank Commanders, you won't be seeing things like Leontus, right, which were you seeing before. So it's a bit of a switch up. It is one of those unfortunate codexes where the remade index detachment is the strongest one.
Yeah, it's always sad when that happens, I think.
So that's a little bit unfortunate. And I think the internal balance could probably do with a little bit of work, but it's not the worst for it at all. And it's such an enormous, like, there's so many data sheets available to guard. It just makes it so difficult to have them all be useful. So it's hard to hold that against it. But yeah, overall, I think in terms of like, I think I'll probably give it an A. There's some things that I wish were different in there for sure. You know, like the more iconic units being a bit more useful, things like heavy weapon teams, or and people always upset about the super heavies not being good, or you know, some of the Lehman Russ variants you will never see, things like that.
It felt like quite a lot of the new Krieg stuff hasn't been very relevant. I don't know how fair that is, but
Dreer is pretty awful. The command squads are not massively useful. And then the other squads are pretty niche. You just kind of use the Kriegs. But it's not. It's one of those things where it's very middle of the road in terms of power level.
It certainly is now. Yes.
Yeah, and it. Sorry if you can hear fireworks. I've just gone out on my street. I'll make this quick. I think it's just very middle of the road in terms of like power level, and I'm not sure. I think people who are playing Guard for a long time might not get super excited about it because you were using the same stuff. It was kind of a similar play style to the Index. But overall, I think it kind of serves someone who is looking to play Guard in this edition, and like for me, right, who's switched onto it. I feel there's a lot of stuff that I can do there, and I feel very well served with this book. Even if it's not perfect. But I think it's good.
I actually think of all the Guard books I've seen, it would be the one that I think for a new player starting Guard now would probably be the best and most interesting set of options. I don't think it's as overtly powerful as the 9th one, but the 9th one also felt a bit mental and immersion breaking at times. And so they've found a way to make them have their flavour, but also actually be very consistently competitively viable, which I think is quite interesting. It took them quite a long time to figure that out with Guard. And that's cool. But so I think now that some of the nerfs have told, and things like Bridgehead got killed off and other things, I think it has settled down and probably is a bit stale now. And that is a testament to perhaps it doesn't have quite the same depth that some of the ones that are top end have got, right?
Yeah, I think they'd have a very solid competitive identity and like gameplay identity to what they stick to, and that's fine, right? That's more that can be said for a lot of factions that don't necessarily stick to that all the time. So
yes, completely. No, absolutely. So
I would have said A tier for this one personally.
I think probably top of A. I think I back it over the Nids and the Votan. I think partly because it's got a little bit more range of options, and partly because it's got a little bit more strength going for it as well. Nice, okie dokie. What came next?
The Emperor's Children.
Cool. Has anyone got any strong feelings on this one? Is that really what came next?
I felt like EC came out way later.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
February I guess April for Emperor's Children.
Were they one of the ones that came out and then they couldn't actually get the book for a little while? Was it one of those? I can't remember.
Potentially, no, because it came out. This date includes the main release because it's just before World Eaters.
Oh, there you go.
Within a couple of weeks.
Oh, of course. So we headed into our summer of chaos at this stage.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very sugary little book, isn't it? It's very cool. I think ultimately it is a crime how underexplored it has been. Because there are a bunch of really interesting detachments. There's obviously not very many units, so it's got that against it. Fulgrim dropping a bit dysfunctional didn't help it. I think they could have done with Fulgrim being a bit better to give you different directions to go in, but I mean he's entirely fine. And I think with a very small model range, it does really capture the feel of what Emperor's Children is about. But perhaps it suffers a bit from being the first go at giving them a new range, because it took quite a lot away, right? Which EC players weren't delighted about.
It's because it's essentially saying to an Emperor's Children player, your army isn't Emperor's Children anymore, it's a CSM army, because you lost 95% of it. So which I think's not a great approach. It's the first time they did that.
I think it's a better approach than giving the whole CSM range advanced shoot fallback.
But you know what I mean? Like, from the person that owns that collection, it's the worst thing they could have happen, but it's ripping the Band-Aid off, right?
I think that's always going to hurt. That is always going to hurt, and it's going to hurt them more because of how they've been treated in the past. But it is very flavourful. I think it does. They have a very distinct feeling. I think stuff like the pledges in Coterie is really interesting, and was quite new and quite distinct. And it does. You do feel like you're playing against an army of little melee champions. It brought Demon Princes back, which was fun because they'd been absent this edition, really.
And my worry that it was going to feel like essentially Blood Angels with spikes and horns, and it's got a different identity.
Oh, completely different. That's
lovely, right? That's always my fear. It's like, oh, it's just a book they've already done, but better. Always feels a shame. So,
yeah, I think them having so few data sheets. I mean, I think I said it before. There's more Kroot data sheets than there are Emperor's Children data sheets. That's kind of crazy.
It's a better faction, mate. That's why.
Yeah, good old Kroot.
There's also a distinct feeling that they ran out of ideas when writing detachments.
Yes,
because they've got Coterie, which is very unique, and they've got the Demon detachment, which is what all the Legion books are getting. So that's fine. Yeah, and then you kind of have.
I like Peerless.
Transport.
The transport one just is people. This was not an army that needed the transport detachment.
It slows them down in a way.
Exactly. Right? If anything, it's less helpful for them. And I don't think Peerless is good, but Mercurial's kind of pointless. Peerless is just a good combat control detachment. I think it's quite fun for that.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where it's just a worse Coterie is the problem.
On output, yes.
It ends up being very similar. But. So, I'm not a big fan of the detachments. I think the data sheets end up, though, being quite interesting and unique, considering they're very similar, like, in what they are to the CSM ones.
And it's that very clever, well, not even that clever, it's like just putting a few of the universal rules in a few interesting places just opens up an army, right? In terms of where precision is, where scout is, the tempo you can apply and the threats it applies.
They've taken the models that are the same in CSM, but they've managed to change the rules enough to give the army a unique playstyle and way that they, a unique gameplay loop, which is, and they have an identity that is different from everyone else. They are the advance and do stuff. They are the fallback and do stuff Marines, right? They are known for their speed.
Yeah,
that's what I think of when I think of EC.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always wounds on 3s. That's the first time I've seen that. That's terrifying.
Yes, that was good fun. Good fun for the flawless blades, but it wasn't enough. People didn't want them.
No. They're not cooked
where
enough.
where do you put it? Where do you put a book like that?
It feels like it's not quite in B to me. Like, it's good, but is it great? I don't know.
It's interesting. I think
I don't think you can put it in A with the small number of data sheets, and
I think
the
given
detachments not being
people
ideal.
people are basically playing Coterie. It's in that sense, it's not unlike Blood Angels, which we just panned,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Yeah.
great. It's
It
basically
feels
got
like there
it's
to me.
basically got one combat trick detachment that everyone plays, and then some cool data sheets, which is not unlike Blood Angels at all. So let's put it up a B for now. I think it's been very popular, but I think that's because Emperor's Children are popular, and because going fast is popular rather than anything particularly.
They're fun
moving.
to play. They just don't have a lot of depth, right?
Yeah.
Is it better than Space Marines?
Oh.
I think so. I think
Yeah, I
Space
reckon
Marines is
so.
flawed from a design perspective.
Yeah, I think it's probably a bit
Shown
more
its
exciting.
age.
EC knows what it wants to be and does it well, even
Marines
if it
is
doesn't do it
generalist, so
in
it's-
lots of different ways.
Yeah. Marines should be dead middle.
Got
right?
a few questions in chat, which I will field now. Charlie Watts was giving some love to the Vindicator in LAG. Which
Fuck off, Charlie.
You need two, Charlie. That's
hello,
what you
John
need.
Black. Lovely to have you here as well. And then Entropic Tyranny says, would Budwatch agree with your ranking of Tyranids? Bear in mind the majority of players still use the index 2 years later. Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
We don't care about Tyranids fans. So,
We've been slated in
long-running
the comments
thing, so.
for years, right?
I think that book keeps on plugging, and books that completely fail to have anything to offer drop off entirely, and Nids haven't, right? I think Nids people do keep coming back.
I think the problem with NIDS and the reason they use index is it's a balance issue. It's not a design issue.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think
it's an interesting
Nids
book,
have,
even if
Nids
it's
have,
not. You know,
that's it. I love the
diverse.
rules for Nids, and when you play it, it feels like you're playing uphill, but that's a different problem, and that's not the book's fault per se. So there we are. Okay, what came next, John?
Probably the best book of the edition. It was World Eaters.
God, World Eaters. Okay, so what do you think about World Eaters, John?
I think the data sheets felt thematic.
Yep.
The detachments all had a place. Granted, I think realistically, are you going to take the cultist one? Probably not, but you can. It's got a playstyle to it. You could take some Lords of Skulls with it. It's great. Like, it's got one of the best shooting units in the game in some respects because you got 4 rerolls on a Forge Fiend, which I didn't expect them to have.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got a similar sort of problem that Emperor's Children have, but slightly more toned down because they didn't lose as much when they became their own army last edition. So,
Well, they're in the next wave, although
Yeah.
they didn't actually get new models.
they're a step
today.
ahead, right? Well, we got one model, right?
We got one model,
Slaughterbound.
but I feel like it felt like they had. It was as if someone had thought about how do we add a little bit more dimensionality to what we were already getting them to do, without losing what they already do.
Yeah.
And I think it felt quite studied in that sense.
And then Demon Prince is getting a bit of a glow up. Is the pattern again? And then there was that classic thing of here's an old kit that we need to clear out. Everyone buy Hellbrutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was fantastic.
What I would say for World Eaters is I think they wrote them a banging army rule.
Yeah.
And they wrote them some great data sheets, and then the detachments are actually pretty phoned in because people haven't really. There's not really been much that's like it's been the index one again.
It's always Warband, yeah.
It's always Warband. There's a little bit you can do with some of the others, but I've barely seen them done or used.
Even with the glow up they gave to 8-bounds and the exotic 8-bounds data sheets.
Yeah, I got the
still
Corn
not seeing
Corn
that.
Demonkin is quite fun. But then it is literally brave souls that venture into the other one. Certainly in a competitive sense. I do like the types of things they're trying to encompass. I don't know what you think, Jack.
I have a lot of time for this codex, actually. I think they got really creative with it in a lot of places. I think the way that they reduced the Blitzskull but add rapid fire is like a really great idea. For
That was really. I like the
you're
hitting
close.
on. I like the hitting on fours rapid fire. That feels really refreshing. Actually, that was really cool.
That's a really cool idea. I think again, this one was one where they looked like they ran out of ideas for detachments, but they had to put more in, which is weird considering for some books early on in the edition they just whacked in less detachments.
Tau.
I was thinking Interstodes actually. So yeah,
You'll never pin him down.
But yeah, I mean the obviously you have the Warband one, right, which is super easy. You have the obligatory Demons one that all the Legion books get. You have the Cultist one that all the books get, and but they added like a cool like spin on it, as most of these ones do. And then you just tend to have it's kind of like looking at like, oh, where are the extra playstyles you have for World Eaters? Yeah, it's like I'm not really sure. Let's just add a transport one because that's fine, and then I guess an 8-bound one.
I think that's my feeling is that because they went so hard on the army rule and the data sheets, they were then a bit hamstrung with what they could actually apply on top of that.
Yeah. I think
because ultimately that toolkit from the army rule is already the best like combat army toolkit in the game.
You could probably fold the 8-bound one into the Cultist one, and have them together, and then it would probably be fine. I don't think you would have needed any more detachments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is another one where people were kind of it came out with there was a bit of a wet fart coming out.
People were really down on it.
Yeah, because it was a lot of units that people were already using and really liked got a lot worse with 8-bound. And then you kind of had to, and then it was the index was the best detachment, but you're using units, but the units that you used before are not good anymore. So people were just like, this book's probably bad, and didn't look at it again. But it's kind of just, it's good, but in a very different way to the way the index was.
Sure.
I mean, World Eaters before was the Scout Army, and that was like their identity, which is a bit weird when you think about it. But now they have a very different identity, which I think is much more fitting for them.
Yes.
So thematically, I think this book is dramatically improved.
Yes.
Power level is probably about the same, to be honest. It probably comes out in the wash in the end.
Yeah, I don't think it massively changes for them. They're still very specialised in that sense, which you'll love when it's going your way, and you'll hate when it's not going your way, right? Like, I think that's the reality of it.
I think the initial problem that it had as a book is it landed the same weekend as Death Guard.
Yes, it did have that, which we'll get to.
But that then kind of makes people a bit more muted when they see the other side of the fence looks a little bit more spicy, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes it's better to just keep your head down, though, isn't it, in the long run?
Yeah, and just shout "Wah."
To me, I think it was a lot of cool ideas, and a lot of cool design in there. But I do think that there's a bit of an internal balance problem, and there was a lack of ideas in the detached front. So I think it would be either top of B or bottom of A.
Yeah,
for me.
I think for me, I'm putting it. I would happily have it below Votan in A, or have it upper B. And I feel like current sort of success and function in competitive scene is slightly distorting my impression of it. Because I don't think you can have a book where there's basically one detachment people run and say, oh, this has been a smash hit on the design front, right? I think that's quite. So let's put it top of B for now, and we can see that nice fat middle of ours is filling out there.
And they did fix one of its big weaknesses like they did with Votan, right? Giving an infiltrator unit.
Yes.
That was a positive.
That is true.
That was one positive.
Well, it was a positive till they were getting first drop and stuff and me putting fire dragons in their deployment zone, but whatever. It's fine. And I love the rebrand of the Chaos Spawn as the thing that goes 24 inches and charges your lines turn 1, by the way. That's not I've never looked at those models and thought, yeah, those fly as fast as warp spiders at the start of a game.
That's why mine are all ogres.
Yeah, so good. So stupid. A lot of fun. Okay, all right. We'll do one more and then we'll do our promos and our midpoint stuff, guys. So, what was next? Oh, it was Death Guard, right?
Yep, same weekend.
So, Death Guard. This was jacked as all hell. This was every single unit in this book is great. There's not a bad unit on release. Every single thing is good. It was also all too undercosted, but that's a different issue. This had it integrated all the balance patches they'd had, so you had this incredibly flexible debuffing army rule, which actually I think is very Nurgle. I think GW in general have arrived at that like debuffing army feel for Nurgle that I think is always more interesting than just making it tough. It's cool for it to be tough. It's also cool for it to enfeeble the opponent. Those are the two things I think Nurgle should do, so I like that. But I think obviously some of the rules in here were very, very powerful. This was the 6-inch deep strike and charge for the first time with the Death Shroud, who were probably the single most powerful unit in the game for quite a while. The detachments are really good. There's loads of good detachments. I've played the Taliban one, the Terminator one is very good, Virulent is very good, Mortarian's Hammer was very good. There actually isn't a bad detachment in the book, I don't think, unless I'm forgetting one. I think every single thing in there is entirely feasible. But obviously it was so strong that now it's taken a substantial points tap, so it's a bit harder to see where it all lands. Now you're in that land of, well, lots of stuff is very pricey. I suppose a bit like Sisters, actually, where because they've now paid the price for having amazing rules, which distorts completely what's actually possible in the book at this point, which again is a reflection perhaps on them not getting it right. Because if you jack something up that much, that then it has to be put in the ground, that's probably not ideal.
It's a weird one, right? Because I think you're right on the army rule, right? Because I think that's one of my favorite archetypes is that we are going to drag our opponent down to our level and we're going to fight them. The problem is that they're already like 6 steps above you. And down you on the ladder.
That's exactly it. It's so powerful, and also that they made it far too easy to put it in places as well. Like it was way too easy to apply it. Yeah,
because these are not like weak units. No, they're incredibly like. I mean, Plague Marines are one of, if not the best infantry shooting unit in the game. I mean, they're up there. They're going to be top 3, I think. The Death Shroud are the best combat unit in the game.
Yeah,
and I will take no argument on that. And I think
pronounce the lion.
I think it's a really good. It's another one of those books where again someone's written it. So like, I want this to be cool and fun and be awesome and be fun to play, and it is for the person playing it. But again, it reads like it's written for 11th edition. And I think it's a really good example actually of when you're writing rules and you see, okay, well this army has a weakness, right? It's slow.
Yep.
So we need to help people, give people an option to work around that weakness. So we're just going to give everything +1 movement, which is like, okay, well, we can that's kind of justifiable because, you know, they were the slowest army in the game. It was a big hamstring. We're just going to take away the weakness. We'll also give you a 6-inch deep strike and charge unit, and it completely negates that weakness. Like, it was so weird how Death Guard were we're going to charge you turn 2 army. Which is so strange.
And it has that effect of the thing you could do to play against Death Guard, which was stay away from them, you now can't do. Because by definition, if you stay away from them, Death Shroud connect into you. And if you go towards them to screen the Death Shroud, then Death Guard connect into you. So you lose either way, right, in that sense. Yeah,
I just think it was... like, don't get me wrong, there are lots of really fun to use data sheets in here. There are lots of...
Mortarian is so cool in this. It's the best rules he's ever had, I think.
There's a lot of interesting ideas in the detachments. I think some of them are... I think the tank one, the Hammer of Mortarian one, is probably the best one in terms of sticking to a theme. And the index one of being just like... It's weird, because you have Virulent Vectorium and Champions of Contagion, which are... Their theme is not very strong. They're just, we're good at doing stuff. Right? It's not like...
That is true. I mean, they both actually have massive overlap, don't they, really, in what they do.
Yeah, like, we give everything re-rolls and stuff dies a lot. It's like, I don't get me wrong, I do understand the logic, right, with like champions, but it doesn't, like, about focusing on characters and stuff like that. I just don't think it plays out with the way that the rules are written.
No, I think that's because Death Shroud is so good that they both become defined by Death Shroud anyway.
Conversely, the Nurgle one and the one that focuses on the I can't remember what they're called, the zombies, the plague zombies.
Oh, the Poxwalkers, yeah.
Yes, the Poxwalkers. Those two are like really thematic and really focusing on what
really, really nicely written. Yeah.
But why would you play them when you could just play the broken ones?
Because I'm ill in the head, Jack. Is the answer.
So I think it's a failure on like the thematic sense with the detachments. I think the detachments are just
there's one or two I think where I'd agree. I still think there are more hits across that set of detachments than most books have. Most books have detachments full stop. To be honest,
terms of being strong, like for sure, and things that are competitively viable, 100%. In terms of sticking to a theme, I guess that's true as well because they just have a lot of detachments. But Yeah,
I see what you mean with Virulent and Champs, though. I think those are just sort of Death Guard good stuff at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
I think that again is because certain units in this, like the synergy with the Lord of Virulence and the Heavy Blight Launcher, is so good that it doesn't matter where you put it. It just doesn't matter. Like it's just really good whatever detachment it's in.
Yeah. I guess where I'm going with this is that, like, don't get me wrong, the book's very strong. It's very fun to play. I just think it's fun to play for the wrong reasons. And I just think the theme isn't necessarily as well served as it could be. And I think some of the datasheet rules, mostly just the Death Shroud, to be honest, are just a bit like
Show
they
us on
don't
the
really
doll.
fit.
Yeah, I get that.
But everything else is kind of fine in terms of datasheets. So I mean, I wouldn't want to put this in S because I think it's just too.
I think the fact that people have jumped off it almost instantly, I think probably vindicates you, because I think that demonstrates in some ways that it was good for the wrong reasons, right? We've seen pretty heavy abandonment of it, and it's not an army I'm seeing people talk about or be particularly excited about. Which again, you compare it to Eldar, which has essentially done a similar thing. It's come out, it's been very good for a long time, but people are still very hyped about it. Whereas Death Guard has sort of dropped off people's interest.
It's a super strong book. It's just not a well-written book in my mind.
That's fair. What do we think, Chris? What do you think about Death Guard?
Oh, I don't think they're all that.
It really does celebrate too much about skill expression of the player, right, Chris?
Yeah, I don't think it's at all.
Turns out if you can't make 6-inch charges, they're not the army.
Yeah, I mean
that's literally true.
Yeah, you guys are talking about Death Shroud as if they're amazing. I wouldn't know. Or I could just stand there and die. No, I think obviously they came out. It was one of those books where it was. I remember like when the previews coming along and there wasn't that usual negativity that you get, and then it was suddenly like, oh, actually, this is oh no. And this is quite well tuned, isn't it? And obviously, you could see by the time we got around to like WTC, and everyone was all over that stuff. So I mean, as you say, like people have kind of dropped off it because it's quite basic Warhammer. It's not got that fun element. It is just a look. Oh, come out and play. Okay, cool. You came out and played, and now you're dead. I mean, it's a nice book. It's got some depth. People seem to be happy with it. It's got different.
I think the Death Guard specialists I know have certainly been very well served by it and have been able to do a bunch of interesting things with it, which is cool. So I think in that sense it's kept them happy. Obviously the ride, no, I don't think any specialist likes when their book goes on this kind of a ride. It's not fun. I mean, I think A is probably fair for it. I do think it's got more diversity and a range of options than a lot of the ones we're bemoaning in B.
I'd agree. But is it better than Votan?
Oh yeah, I think it is. I do.
Better than Tyranids?
No, I think the Nids themes still to me shine above it. I think. I think that's a reasonable spot for it. Viewer filter one if you're joining us. We're ranking the codexes here, and we're doing so based on a whole bunch of different criteria, including how well written it is, how well on theme it is, how well we think it enables you to play the army the way people imagine you're going to play the army. A whole bunch of criteria, but we're not looking purely at competitive power here, though inevitably that will cloud us a little bit.
Where that lets us do things like put AdMech in D and then clickbait people into watching the video.
We'd never do that. We would never do that to you, viewer 41. We would never do that to you at all. If you're just joining us, hello and welcome. This is 6+++ show. We are a good chunk of the way through our Codex tier list. Now that we have all the Codex, that's what we're doing. So we're going to take a brief break for self-promotional nonsense, all that good stuff, and then we'll get it home. So thanks for watching. Please do hit like and subscribe on the video. I can see there's a whole bunch of you watching, so it'd be lovely to get a bunch of likes on the videos as well. And if you haven't subbed already, please do. We make loads of fun content for you. We'd love to have you here. If you want to sign up to support us financially as a YouTube member or by chucking a super chat in the area, we will of course respond to any questions. We'd love to have you on board supporting us there. We've got hundreds of YouTube members now, and we'd love to have more as we try and grow this into a great big venture. If you're interested in getting some supporting coaching with us, we have a whole coaching Discord full of mentees that we work with all the time now, so get in touch with us, and you can sign up and we can help you level up at your game as well. And on the self-promotional standpoint, we also have a few other announcements, do we not, Capitan, as far as event season goes?
So if you guys were paying very close attention to one of our more recent shows, you'd have said that I said that maybe if you were interested in popping up north at some point, you would want to keep 28th of February / the 1st of March free. And yeah, we are here to announce that yes, we are going to be running our next installment of that 6++ Grand Tournament North style. We're returning to sunny Barnsley. It was an incredible venue up at Prestige. It's going to be a 54 player event, live streamed. It's going to have all the goodies that we had last time and even more. The feedback we got from the first time we ran that event was genuinely overwhelming, and we can't wait to head back up there. It's going to be a fundraiser for Team England as well. So last time we did a bit of fundraising for other things. This time we're going to fundraise for Team England. There's going to be a giant, great raffle for people to kind of win lots of fun things. That means that Jack gets to be an Emperor's Children main, and all that sort of thing. And yeah, we're really, really excited. We're not going to put out we're not going to put out any information like just yet, but in the coming weeks, we'll start to share some stuff and also let you know how you can get tickets. We're keen to make sure everyone is aware of this date, save the date, because let's face it, the tournament schedule out is
it's all getting a bit much.
It's quite trying to find. We're like, let's do it this weekend. No, we can't do it the weekend we want. Right, well, what about this one and this one and this one? And it's rammed, especially with obviously nearly every weekend being a UKTC super major apparently. So we had to work our way around that. But yeah, so save the date, guys, if you fancy popping up north. There will be a south one, but that's not decided yet. We haven't got to work out a venue for that, and that'll be later on in the year. But yeah, 28th of February / 1st of March. Save the date, lock it down, do whatever you need to. Bribe your partner in any way to say, like, I really want to go to Barnsley this weekend.
It's just such a request. Like, I know you're gonna look at me funny, but I really want to go up to Barnsley for a weekend. And then you explain it to see us, and then it makes sense, right?
Exactly. Yeah, super exciting. That's all going to be really good. We'll look forward to it. We've got more bits and bobs. We're going to post up our event calendar and everything else soon, because obviously we've got some invitations on the horizon, all those exciting things as well. So yeah, that should be really, really fun. On the video side, we've got tons of videos coming out. So if you've missed it, we've got the lunchtime show went out on Monday, and Chris and Ed, and then very briefly me after some time. I made it in eventually after a technical battle with my own computer, talking all things 40k, looking over to Paris and some 40k there, and playing some fun games, which I was not as good at as I was the previous one, but I had a good time. And then we also had a video come out on Cabalite Cartel. If you're interested in the new Takari book, I've got my little team of Archons. We're working our way through all the detachments. So if you want to learn how to play Cabalite Cartel, we talk through that in depth. Harley did an interview about his Team England application that features a really beautifully written PowerPoint, so that's really nice. And I've done a video on Hearthband as well, which I think might be the best Votan detachment. Having talked up the book, I think potentially the Grotbus detachment might be the best one right now. It's definitely very, very exciting and has some cool stuff going for it, so I did a little video on that as well. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it from a self-promotion standpoint, unless I've missed anything.
Yeah, 29th of October.
Yes.
There is this thing called Teams 40k, which for many of our viewers, they'll know that it is by far the best way to play 40k.
That is correct. We do say that.
And it is, in fact, something that is really blossoming at the moment, and there are lots of people out there who play it or want to get involved. And, well, we're here to make you guys even better.
Yes.
Because we've been running a few evening workshops, which have been really fun to do, and we're going to be running our first Teams one.
Yes.
So on October the 29th, Wednesday, 8 till 10, I think we're going to do.
Yeah.
It is £20, and in that we are going to have a 2-hour session where we're going to cover how to design a team composition, how to design a matrix, how to pair. and then general tips and tricks for the weekend itself. And there'll be activities to do, so you'll get hands-on experience of practicing pairing and that sort of thing. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really great opportunity. You know, like Tom obviously played for England at WTC, and Jack and myself have got a lot of experience in playing teams and competing at the top end of the ITT. So it should be a really good learning opportunity for anyone who's interested in trying to think about teams in a way that maybe they hadn't thought of before.
Yeah, exactly. If you're new to it, if you're someone who's been going for a little while and is just starting to figure things out, if you're a captain trying to whip his lads into shape, whatever it is, we're going to cover the team's perspective from all the different possible angles. And I think it should be a really, really fun evening and get people kitted out before they start submitting for ITT. So yeah, come and get involved. You can sign up in our Discord. There's links in the video, so you just go to the masterclass sign up area and you can sign up in there, and we'll hope to see you there. Brilliant. Okay.
So speaking of teams,
oh yes,
very quickly. So next weekend is Battle of Britain.
Yes.
I'm going there. Of us, and we're going to go make some videos, speak to the teams that are there, get information, do interviews, all that sort of stuff. Is going to be really cool. But I was also hoping that if the viewers of our lovely show and our lovely channel have any questions for any of the teams that are there. So Team England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, I think and they have multiple teams of each, right? I think that's right.
That's correct. Yeah,
I haven't forgotten anyone. They're all going to be there. So if anyone has any questions for those teams or want to know how they do things, how their application process works, how they pick their teams or anything like that, but please put a question in our Discord. I think we said we're going to be in the podcast question section, or even just in the comments of this video, whatever works for you. And I'll see if I can ask those questions at the event. Get it straight from the source from you guys.
100%. So yeah, do let Jack know what you'd like him to ask the different teams. You can do so in the chat in here. We'll write it down, or you can go to our podcast questions in the Discord, put it in there as well. Okay, amazing. Right, let's rattle on. What came next after the Death Guard Menace?
The next absolute banger of a Chaos book.
No, you're breaking
Thousand Suns.
What, sorry?
Thousand Suns.
Ah.
How did I break up? What's going wrong? That's weird.
Sounded good to me.
Must have been the energies of the warp. So,
yeah, I was being sarcastic.
Suns. Thousand Suns. Well, interesting. I really don't know what to make of this book at this stage.
God. I'll say it. What a shitter.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's just really bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the internal balance is an absolute state. I think half of those data sheets are useless or too good, especially on release.
Yeah,
I think the detachments. I mean, the balance on them is all over the place, but I also think there's a really bad idea drought. I think on that one as well. And yeah, it's a bit. I think there was an effort to kind of tone it back a bit from the index, but they didn't really know how or what they wanted to do with it.
Yes.
And it all just ended up a bit of a mess, really. It was kind of a bit too good on release, and now it's no good, and it's just well, not no good, but it's considerably worse than when it came out.
I think in some ways
really.
It was a bit like what I said with World Eaters, where they got an incredible army rule here, right? That was so powerful in and of itself, right? You've got a whole bunch of powers you can cast, one of which is essentially Oaths of Moment, right? That's very, very strong. But then, I don't think they really knew what packaging to put it in. We had that exact same situation where the index detachment rebranded was the only real competitive option. There was some weird shit you could do with goats that I know Ed talked about, but I know they took they took that away from him almost immediately. Like a lot of things that Ed thinks are good in 40k, they live short and brutal lives. And yeah, I just don't really know what it's left with now. It feels like it's a bit probably underexplored. It's probably better than people think it is, but it's just ended up extremely meh.
It's not as bad as Custodes, don't get me wrong.
No, exactly. I mean, it's still you can still do cool wizardy shit, but the detachments don't seem to hang together with it particularly well.
Does that mean it's bottom of C or top of D? Because that's where I'm reading
It's
this.
It's not non-functional. It's not non-serviceable. I feel like it ends up somewhere between like Orcs and Tau.
I think it's. I think it's worse off than Tau, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think it's between Tau and Dark Angels.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it there. I mean, what I do know is I'm not seeing anyone rushing to play it right now.
It has traditionally a smaller player base than both those factions, but even then, still, you just don't see those specialists keeping up with them, right?
Well, and I think some of the long-term specialists, or certainly self-proclaimed specialists of Thousand Suns I've known, never touched it, never really played it. It never even really got their imagination for very long.
Did you play it much, Tom? Like, as someone that owns the army and
was
enjoying it at
I
times?
think it confirmed for me that it was time. I love that army, but everyone who knows me knows. I was explaining to my mentee. I only play it one way, which is I try and table you by sending turn 1 with 10 Terminators and Magnus, and if that doesn't work, then I don't want to live in that world. So that's not the book for you if that's what you like to do.
Sounds like you need orcs, Tom.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think it's. I don't know. It didn't really get my juices flowing, to be honest, as a book. But also, I think we've established it's not the army for me per se. Doesn't suit my bloody mindedness.
Speaking of bloody mindedness, Tom.
Oh, go on.
The next one is Chaos Knights.
Oh, interesting. So it certainly made a splash on release.
Yep.
And it had at least 2 very viable detachments in Lords of Dread and Infernal Lance. I think we've arrived at pretty much Infernal Lance being the only thing that's done now. What I like about this book is it made the big knights relevant again. When they'd been functionally irrelevant for Chaos Knights for a long time. So it addressed some issues on that score. I think the army rule itself is quite interesting, and again a little bit technical, a little bit debuffy, which I enjoy, and it does have that sort of fear and terror feel to it. And the balance across the different baby knights is okay. I actually think with hindsight, probably the nerf to the Brigand is what's hurt it. The Brigand has dropped off relevance. I don't think it needed to be nerfed. I think if they'd left the Brigand as it is, you'd have quite a good internal balance between the little knights now, but you don't. So you've got the Carnivore and the Stalker being the main ones people take. And it is very dependent on souping in allies. And it's another one where it's not managed the adjustments made to it particularly well. It's sort of ended up clustered around Infernal Lance, right, basically.
And on launch, it lent a bit too heavily on the Specialist Game Studios Heresy Knights, so the Cerastus Knights.
Yeah, there was that as well. Classic Forge World.
Cerastus?
The Atropos, wasn't
Atropos,
it? Yeah, the Atropos.
And it was just you saw them by default in every list, and it was just a little shame that they weren't even in the book, and they were getting kind of the headline.
Yeah, I don't know what you think, Jack.
I quite like this one actually. I think when we look at it from the detachment and design perspective, I think there's only so many ways you can go with knights, right? I think we all expected it to be all big knights, all little knights, and then a mix of knights, and those were going to be the detachments. They just so happened to throw in the Infernal Lance here as an extra, which is basically knights with the Chaos Space Marine special rule. Like, what if we just did that instead? And I think that one's just a bit overtuned. I think that's all I think is wrong with it. I don't think it's... Like, the other detachments are fine, and they are solid. It's just that this one is, like, from a numbers perspective, things like Feel No Pain and Ignore Cover are just really, really strong. And I think but I think that's partially down to the Despoiler being very good as well. It synergizes really well with this detachment.
Yeah, I think that's potentially... I don't know. I think potentially letting it double up on one gun was a design error.
It's weird. It's weird that it's just not box.
Yeah, I don't understand that one, and I think actually the rest of the book is paying for that in ways where I think the quicker fix would have been to just take the double gun off it.
And it's timings wise as well, right? It drops in just after a bunch of power armored armies come in and go, we really like running across the battlefield, not in transports, and then they go, well, we've got the gun for that, which is
I think the Chaos Knights book in 9th was an incredible book. and I don't. This hasn't quite scratched the same itch for me, but that is the difference between a 9th and a 10th book at the end of the day, right? They're not as they're not quite as vivid.
I still really do rate the book though. Like the army rule as well, is really thematic and is
the army rule is good.
One of the few examples of Battle Shock as a mechanic making a lot of sense and working.
Yes.
So I've got a lot of time for that. There's just I think the only issue with this book is a tuning situation and the inherent issues with being knights that exist. But I think it's fairly solid. In terms of that sort of stuff, I'd be looking to put it more towards the top half of this tier list, to be honest. Around maybe bottom of A.
Yeah, so I don't know quite where it's at on the wider detachments. I've not read them enough to know. So, but I'd trust your judgment on that. I certainly think it's offered an awful lot, and it's been a fun one, I think, for Knights players to tinker with. So I think we can certainly have it in there. I think sort of top of B, bottom of A would suit for me. So let's put it bottom of A for now because our B tier is quite fleshed out.
Yeah, I think it's below Death Guard because out of the two of those, Death Guard got taken to WTC, and if people did take Chaos Knights, quite often it was super.
Yeah, it was a much more polarizing choice whether you took Chaos Knights or not, for sure. Yeah. Okay, great. What came next, John?
The next one was a really nice, exciting Knights book called Grey Knights.
Go on, Chris. Let us have it, Chris.
It's sad times, guys. No, I remember Ed and I did like a really short, we'll do the snapshot of each of the detachments, and it turned into like an hour and a half video. But the end of it, we were just like, what do we think of the overall book? And it was just like, this book was not exciting in any way. It promised, you were thinking, they could do all these sorts of things here, and the detachments were really weird. They kind of split up all the. Like each detachment kind of got one thing that was kind of all right, but they didn't manage to bunch them together into anything coherent. And so a few of the detachments have got a little bit of something about them. Like you take Banishers, which was the first one everyone got really excited about. Realistically, the only reason you play that detachment is if you love Mr. Deimos, which is obviously an incredibly powerful stratagem, don't get me wrong.
And that is why you play it, Chris.
It's literally the only reason I play it. But it doesn't revolutionise the book in any way.
No.
The data sheets, look at the special weapons, right? The special weapons in that army were pretty boring, and they did nothing to them.
Yeah. When you consider these are the weapons of demon hunters.
Okay.
A bunch of AP1 damage to
Psi cannon, strength 8, -1/2 damage, no ignores cover. We'll just keep it exactly the same. Silencer, whatever, strength 5, no AP, 1 damage. Sustained. We'll give it precision for no reason. Okay, cool, that's exciting. Flamers, exactly the same. Everything just stayed the same, and we're at the situation where all they did was they slightly buffed purifiers, and guess what? The Grotmus detachment was the one in which purifiers were good. And I guess we'll all carry on playing the Warpbane detachment then if we want to try and go out. And you know what? Yes, that detachment is powerful and it can do well, but it's boring when you've been playing it since Christmas. And I know people are doing a little bit with other things, but it wasn't fun. I wasn't saying like, I want to try this and explore that. I'm like, I guess I'll just go play Mr. Deimos again because I missed that. Like it wasn't a great book. I think it was a bit of a miss from a Grey Knights perspective, and people are in the Grey Knights community. Everyone is just trying to make like paladins work, and it's like they're too overcosted, but people are still like, but I want to play the Terminators, so they're just trying, and they did kind of going full circle, and you've got people who are trying to run like bricks of them again, which can be good in certain matchups, but it wasn't an exciting. Having looked forward to that book, you've had to wait, the whole iteration. You're hoping for some really cool, fun, janky stuff, and there wasn't anything there that was groundbreaking. Nothing new and exciting. It was quite disappointing.
I've played
upgrade kit.
I'm not like a Grey Knights fan per se, but I've always associated their book coming out with some interesting and exciting rules to have to get to grips with, and that it just hasn't provided that, right? There's not been any puzzle to figure out.
If you know how to play against Grey Knights,
it's literally not brought any new problem to solve, which does always feel like a bit of a letdown for a book. If it
was it 9th edition where literally it was like someone poured water into the frying pan of oil and just everything went absolutely bonkers?
Oh, that was the Dread Knight. That was when Dread Knights were first like all over the shop again.
With 30 interceptors flying around. Like, I mean, you've got so few data sheets, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't revolutionise them in any way. Yeah, the Grandmaster's all right with the Melter. That was something that was needed. People are raving, obviously, about Storm Raven, pun. But, you know, that was already a thing a year ago. Matt Bell did well with it.
It lost, was it 3 data sheets out of a small pile already?
Yeah, well, obviously it lost Drago, right? That's
so funny.
Point
it's so funny that they took Drago away.
Faction leader just disappeared.
Yeah,
it's okay, guys.
Literally, like again, one of the most exciting things about the index, and they're like, no.
Yeah, we got a 6-inch charge to fail. That was at least a part of our core identity. Taking it away. So
absolutely brutal.
Yeah. I don't know whether I would put it.
It feels quite hard to be kind to this.
It does. I mean, because I love Grey Knights, I don't want to put it in D tier. But is it?
Is it good?
I think I'm going to go with.
Is it better than 15 Deathwing Knights, Chris?
I'll be honest. I think this goes in D. I think this is like such a bad codex. I feel there's so much.
I have literally, other than I saw you having a fun time with Banishers.
I did have a fun time.
So I know that happened, but I've heard no one talk about anything other than Warpbane Task Force since it came out. That's crushing. That's a crushing indictment.
I think there's so much opportunity to create cool stuff because all the different
they should be awesome, right?
All the different like company equivalents in Grey Knights have their own like specialization, right? So they could have done a lot with that with detachments, but they just decided to basically make 4 or 5 different versions of Grey Knight good stuff, except it's just the Dread Knight. That's the good stuff. It's like and Purifiers as well. It's like a lot of the data sheets, as Chris said, a lot of the data sheets are really uninspiring. The weapon profiles are really uninspiring. It does come off as a bit. I don't want to say lazy, but it does come off that way a little bit.
I think it's lazy. Yeah, I don't think it evolves.
There's no cohesiveness. Like you take Banishers, right? Like your detachment rule is in combat, you basically get dark packs. Cool. But all the enhancements are built around shooting.
There's
dark packs on just your slew of 6/2/2 weapons. It's just like what's
it's not a detachment rule. Like you don't get it. Nearly like it's just whenever you actually need it. Obviously, you don't roll the 6 on the leadership. Like you basically play a lot of the time.
Oh, it's a dark pack, but you can also fail it. That's really funny.
Yeah. So it's on your leadership test. So it's on it. So it's only in combat, and there's no negative, right? So
right.
So funny. You can't do it in shooting. Obviously, like Dread Knight's dark packing might be quite brutal. But yeah, so there's no negative if you fail it. But you're like, okay, cool. Some of the time, I get lethal or sustained.
It's quite funny, right? Because we said that Death Guard had multiple attachments, which is just Death Guard good stuff, and then this has got multiple attachments, which is just Grey Knight's good stuff. But the difference is that the Death Guard one is full hit and wound rerolls with crit 5s, and this one is take a battle shock when you charge something. It's like it's not quite the same level of power that you're giving out.
And again, it's like I could tell you what the different Death Guard attachments are supposed to represent. What's Banish is supposed to represent, Chris? What aspect of the Grey Knight?
Really hurting stuff in combat.
Is that the Sword Masters or whatever they're called? Because they each have titles. These different things.
And I can't name the others. I don't even know what the others are called.
You've got Strike, which is like the drop down and shoot things. You've got the Terminator detachment, where the attachment rule is fall back and charge. Okay. Not like advance and charge, fall back and charge. It's like cool, brilliant. Cool. So I want to be
5-inch move, guys.
Like big work. But if I was to summarize the Grey Knight Codex through one data sheet, it'd be the Grey Knight Rhino. Okay, so think about how wonderful all the Chaos Rhinos are, right?
Oh God, don't get
and
me
all
started.
The wonderful buffs they hand out, the Death Guard one, the Thousand Suns one, the World, all really cool. The Grey Knight Rhino, if you are wholly within 6 inches of the Rhino as a unit, you get a 6-up feel no pain against mortal wounds.
Oh, cool. That's fun.
Sweet.
Like,
How many times at LGT did that matter?
Yeah. Like, it's the most stupid rule ever, and it just kind of like, what were they worried about giving you anything? Like, it's so disappointing.
I think they were worried about not getting to lunch on time.
Do you know what? Do you think it was midway through the development process? They were like, right, we're going to delay releasing the new Ranger models. We'll shelve that codex. Just throw something together because it just feels like a holding pattern.
It's not good.
It's not cohesive. Is it better than Custodes?
I think it's better than Custodes, but
it's got Mr. Deimos, so
we'll go with that.
That seems fair.
Sorry,
Peter Peterson in the chat says, "Don't you love having a stratagem for anti-chaos 4-up?" I'm sure that comes up a lot.
You know what? To be fair, at LGT, I played into Chaos Knights and with a lot of Storm Bolters, and I'm like, oh, I really can't. I can't really do anything here. I'm like, but I can actually with the
when it's good, it's amazing.
When it's very niche, but there are points where you're like, oh, so these 40 Stormbolter shots wound you on your big scary knight on force. That's interesting.
That's so good. So good. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Poor old Grey Knights. So, what next?
So, Space Wolves was just before then, but I missed it because it's in a different row.
Excellent.
Which dropped as a supplement.
I will let you boys cover Space Wolves while I take my mandated walk, and then I shall be
go
back.
Walk.
Okay.
We can say stuff about Tom whilst he's not here then. Cool. This was a really interesting book when it landed, to me. Like, it was the first time we saw normal Space Marines suddenly going more than 6 inches. By default, everything suddenly looks like a Chaos army in that respect, that suddenly everything's moving 7. It had some very nice themes to it. The new splash release of models had some cool interactive, like the Head Takers rules are really quite fun, but I think this one suffers that the detachments are very much, do I take Stormlance or do I take, is it Beast Slayer detachment? That's the other one, right? Yeah, Saga the Beast Slayer, and it's like the other ones, I don't even know what they're called because I've not seen them played, and it's a shame. But
I'll be honest, this one totally passed me over, so I have no opinions on this one.
The data sheets are great, and the models are great. I think it's got a similar problem that a lot of the Marines have got as well. And the big problem this book has as well, it's the first time that if you've got a character that's Space Wolf keyword and a unit that's Space Wolf keyword, great. If you want a captain to join a Space Wolf keyword unit, no, not happening. Or you've got a Space Wolf unit and you've got a normal guy, no, can't do that either. They completely keyword lock 2 halves of the book apart. So it's a supplement that doesn't interact very well with the actual book it's supplementing, which is a real shame. But in reality, do you want to be taking a bunch of normal Space Marine shit when?
Well, yeah, I guess that's the idea. They're trying to push the Obviously, when they dropped it, had was it the Iron Priest? Like,
oh god, he could just give every gun full. So good. Like, just give them all rapid fire.
All the DACA.
It was really fun.
And it was so yeah, you had that element, but then that got nerfed pretty quickly. I mean, you don't see Space Wolves around a huge amount.
No,
do you really?
The problem is it dropped in a competitive field where there was a lot of stuff already doing what it does, and if you wanted to take a different approach, it was guns, and they were at one point before that nerf quite good at shooting and then pressuring with melee, but I don't think it was enough. And then
do get a lot of stuff though.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff. I haven't played into Pool at ITT. I was like, oh my word, like this just keeps coming. Like it was, but I don't know if that's really what Wolf players want to.
And they made things like Logan Grimnar's rules feel really thematic, and he has an aura around him, so you can take him solo instead of having him bunch with a Terminator unit, or you can drop him with a Terminator unit on turn 1. So some really cool stuff that does put that pressure. But it feels like seeing that after Death Guard have had similar sort of things. You're like, well, this doesn't feel quite as punchy when I'm not getting so.
And it's always competing with Gladius and Stormlights, isn't it?
Yeah. So on launch, a lot of the teams at WTC were taking Gladius just because it did the job better, especially with the unnerfed guns, which was a shame, right? Because you want people to use their detachments from their book, like as we said last week about Dark Angels. Like you see it occasionally now. Like it's Saga the Beast Slayer, wasn't it?
Beast Slayer is the only one I have any competitive
other
awareness
ones.
of. Yeah, I don't know about the others.
Yeah, that's
Beast
a shame.
Slayer is certainly popular.
And they're still getting more releases because they're getting Wolf Scout models in the near future.
Yeah.
So
the data sheets were cool. It introduced a few cool tricks, but it didn't bring a ton, did it?
Yeah.
It was okay.
So, out of all the supplements, is it better than Dark Angels? Is it better than Blood Angels?
It's not offensively bad, right?
No,
I think this is like definitely the most middle of the road.
I think the data sheets are good. I don't know if they're better than. I think they're competing with Dark Angels in different ways, but Blood Angels have got detachments that you can play that aren't just Gladius. So it's kind of like, is it somewhere between those two?
So you reckon C tier?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe is it top of C? Or,
I would have said B personally.
I think it's probably in B, bottom of B with Blood Angels, right? Yeah, I think it's about there.
I think Blood Angels just edges them purely because in a teams format, if you want a melee pressure army,
I think having jump packs is more fun than being move block. Yeah, so I think
as
that's
much as it's nice having wolves. Yeah,
that's basically
bad factions, and I don't think wolves are the bad factions.
Yeah, exactly. I think people have had some fun with that book, and it's kept popping up. So I think
it feels like they at least got served well enough. Like there's theme in it, and it's enjoyable. And
whoever had their good rapid fire idea for World Eaters can F off for deciding to put it on that guy that stands next to some Space Wolf tanks, because
Tom, it's because they found a pallet of them in the back of the warehouse.
That didn't make any sense. Like, I completely get what you're trying to do for World Eaters, but that was just stupid to have that.
That is prime. We wrote this rule and didn't think about what that would mean.
I suspect so, but I think it was naughty. Naughty.
That layered with Ironstorm would have been so good.
Absolutely horrific. Okie dokie, let's move it along. What we got next?
We could skip this next one. It's not a good one. It's Leagues of Votann.
Oh, well, we've done Leagues of Votann already. That's great. As we've agreed, we love the feel and flavour of it. We don't like getting dumpstered by elves, but that's just the Votann life. So there we go.
I would actually go so far as to say we undersold how good the theme and feel of that one is. I think it's a great book in terms of that. I just don't think necessarily the gameplay works.
I think if you was getting into Votann now again, you would have a fantastic time with that book. Cool. Okay. Next
and because it was what everyone obviously described as the year of chaos, despite it never being a thing, it was more Space Marines with Black Templars.
Oh, yeah. I'm not really qualified to talk about this. I don't really know much about it, except that they all played Gladius immediately.
Yeah. So it's Gladius. Repulsor Execution has got a really nice data sheet that just, if they're close enough or the nearest target...
If you're within 12 of like a Black Templar unit,
it's just
what a surprise.
It's really challenging to set up.
How do you manage that one?
Yeah.
And then
they just kill
Sword
you.
Brethren.
Sword Brethren literally just kill God, right? Pretty much.
And then all the named characters. So it feels like you get to at least use their data sheets.
I think it's quite cool. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah.
I think you've got quite a lot of people interested. I think it's quite powerful. I've seen different people try a few different of the detachments. I mean, Ed's got a hour and a half video coming up as and when we edit it together. But I mean, he said like he made a list for each of the detachments, and he was telling us, wasn't he, Tom, about basically his World Eaters Black Templar list, which hammers World Eaters and is actually really powerful.
Don't reveal his secret tech, Ed. Not Ed, Chris.
I'm sure it's going to take the world by storm. But
I think there's probably more to be done with the actual detachments than has been done so far.
It's still quite early for it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think this is another codex that had a great idea with the taking out Oath of Moment and replacing it with their own army rule. I think that's a really cool idea, and I wish they did that with more of the supplement.
I agree with that.
And I think, I don't know. I think Black Templars have always
my army, the Templars.
They've set themselves apart from the other, or they sit apart from the other supplement detachments in that they're kind of, they don't have like this huge series of models like the other ones do. They have a much smaller range, and they just feel, even though they are very, very different, like how they operate, they don't feel like they play very, very different. It's very weird. I
guess it's because they're Imperial Fist successors, so they're very rigidly quite Codex compliant guys, and then they deviate a little.
Oh, they really don't like the Codex. Don't let them hear. Don't let
like-
Black Templars players
they're pretty,
say that. They do not like the Codex.
They're pretty loopy on that front. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird one. Like it's fine. Again, I think it's another middle of the road one. I don't think there were many good ideas for the detachments, unfortunately, as cool as the army rule is.
No.
And I think some of it was, I think, just, we've got to do this. Like, this is obviously going to be this rule, right? This is what we've done for equivalent units in 10th. We're just going to do the same here. And I think there was a lot of that in that codex. But the army rule's a cool idea, but that's kind of like where the idea stopped, it feels like.
Yeah. There's a whole detachment based around ancients, and they released a new ancient model, which felt kind of very nice, but at the same time, it's not exactly a model that you see there kind of, you put into a list and go, I've got to put it on every unit because I need that +1 OC, don't I? So,
you wait.
Oh
it's
God,
coming.
Tom, don't Tom. I've got 3 Death Ignite ones, it's fine.
Yeah, I would genuinely be curious to know what long-time Black Templars fans think of it. I've not seen... It brought out some cool data sheets. It diverged away from the other Marines a little bit, and then mostly what it's done is create a sort of power armored Drakari with rep X's and impulsors sort of army, which is a lot of fun if that's what you like. But that's not what I associate with Black Templars. So,
it's more combined arms, more Space Marine good stuff, but slightly different good stuff because they have different data sheets.
So I don't think it really hits theme particularly well. It's nice that the Emperor's Champion's back, being a boss again. I do like that.
Yeah.
So
where did it sit though?
Don't know.
I don't think it's Thousand Suns.
Couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
It's still.
I think this is boring in the wrong way. That Space Wolves wasn't, because then it's not memorable. Sorry, it's not memorable in the wrong way. The Space Wolves wasn't, right?
It's playable, but it's not playable in an exciting fashion. Like, at least Space Wolves, you go, oh cool, I've got some cool tricks. This is like, cool, I just hit you hard.
Maybe it's because it hasn't made a huge splash on the scene and we haven't seen it loads, but I don't know. It just seems kind of...
There was a lot of them at LGT, but it didn't seem to manifest into great success at the top end.
I mean, Gaylord took it a long way.
Yeah.
But again, as I say, there's been one list, right? There's been one list with it pretty much since it arrived, and that is just where that can get to. So yeah, not terribly exciting. I don't think it merits much love on here, considering the other criteria that we've talked about. I think so. Oh yeah, I think so. I think probably above.
Suns?
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like quite the miss that is.
To be fair, again, they're not.
I would say top of C, because I don't think it's actively bad like those other codexes are. It's just super forgettable.
Yeah. It's interesting because we're panning Grey Knights for basically using a non-book detachment, and this isn't that different. But
yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
At least it's got
one.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what the rest are.
Got a bit more going on with the units, I guess.
They've got a vehicle one. Black Templars do.
Do they? That's cool.
God, could you imagine if Grey Knights got Gladius?
That'd be sick.
Whoa, how good would that be?
That's next edition, guys. You get Eldar gets next edition's rules. Grey Knights gets last edition's rules.
Oh Jesus. Okay, Jonathan, what's next?
And then it is Imperial Knights.
Okay. I don't know anything about this book.
I've played into it 3 or 4 times now.
Okay, how are you feeling about it?
It feels a little bit more flavoursome. The detachments at least do a different thing.
Okay.
I played last night into Alex with is it Questora's Companions detachment?
Okay. That sounds like
cool tricks.
Yeah,
it's a thing. It's got some cool
stuff.
stuff.
It's got some good ones. I think that's quite a good detachment.
It was really interesting to see that they actually had a different way of playing. It's the whole thing of saying, keeping tally of how many things you've killed. There's nice mechanics behind that, and then the bondsman stuff. Yeah. It does feel like how the army should be played, and it's not just I'm bringing tons of Warglaves and Helverins, which is nice.
That's also good. Yes.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be skewed, do you? You don't want... Historically, the issue with Knights, as we said earlier, has been either the big ones are too good, or the little ones are too good. What we want is every single type. So we want people to be able to play all the bigs or all the smalls or halfway, and they all to be valid. And that's such a hard thing to balance. We've said enough times, knights are a feel bad army. Quite often, like, we go to tournaments, they're a gatekeeper traditionally, unless they're too powerful, and they skew the play experience quite a lot. But I mean, we never got to see what it would be like to have 3 big knights in our deployment zone turn 1. That got hammered straight away, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a real shame. Yeah.
Really disappointed that we didn't get to go to like LGT with that as a thing.
Live that hell.
That would have been interesting.
No,
but I mean, Reese is saying they're bottom of B, top of C, and I think that probably feels right. They have got some different things, but
I think much like Chaos Knights, you kind of knew what they were going to be when they came out, in that it was going to be all bigs, all littles, and a mix. The addition of Gate Warden Lance in this, I think Gate Warden Lance is a fantastic idea for a detachment. I think it's just a bit undertuned, unfortunately, compared to in comparison with the other detachments in there.
Good on you for knowing the names. That's awesome. That's sick. That's sick, Jack. Well done.
I think that's I think that's a really
he's got
cool...
it up on his screen.
Gate Warden Lance is literally, they've just taken 3 random words that are usually in knights and just put them together, haven't they? They're just like, ChatGPT, generate me a name.
It's 5:45 on a Friday. I want to go to Bugman's.
Yeah, man. That's so good. That's so good.
But yeah,
the shield stop strike fist.
Yeah, and the new one's cool with its little upgrade to give it 2 different guns and a thing on top, but was that needed? Maybe not. The Defender's fine.
They're fine. I mean, the problem is I think that army rule is just like not very well thought out, in my opinion.
I do think a good army rule is very important. That's what I think. Yeah,
and I think... But I do think the data sheets are better than they were in Index. I think you're given more options, because I think there was a long time where you just wouldn't run Imperial Knights, right? And then they got a bunch of like stat changes, and then you ran them because they were just a crazy stat check. But now I feel like it's kind of, you still have that mixed arms in the sense that you're not necessarily running just like whatever the best data sheet is times max. For this, which I think is fairly solid. I don't know. It's not good. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say
I don't think
one of the better
good.
codexes of the edition.
Reece Darville's in here calling for it to be bottom B or top of C, and
that is what I would have said as well. Top of C.
I think probably. Top of C. Let's bung it in top of C.
And for a competitive list, you have to ally in sisters. Tells me the book's not functioning in its own, which is a shame.
Sad times. Pour one out for the Imperial Knights. It's a shame.
I almost feel sorry for them.
It's a shame. It is a shame. What came next, John?
Oh God, can we just skip this one? Because this one we don't need to talk about. It's just some idiots, some murder, stabby, horrible Drakari people. Right?
Drakari, okay. So Drakari's cool. I think Drakari's quite fun. I've had some time reading it and plotting with it. I think they obviously lost a lot. So you are coming from a start point of, you're losing a huge chunk of units from an army that doesn't have many units.
That was a lot of your crutch units as well.
It's
right?
a lot of crutch units from how it played previously. Yeah, so I think this has some very cool detachments. I think they do have very different flavour. They make the different aspects of the army work. I think they've managed to write it in such a way that the different ingredients can soup across detachments. You can have witches in your Cabal one and you won't feel like an idiot. You can have some Coven in any of the detachments, you won't feel like an idiot, but then they are going to be better in the ones that are meant for them. And I like that. I think it would have been very easy to cock up on that part, on that score. I think every unit in there now is legitimately good in its own right at doing its particular job. And I think they've adjusted pain tokens to be, I think, quite a lot better in that they unlock, individual specialisms for different units. It's not purely about output. I think my gripe, I've talked about this with other Drakari players in our team quite a lot. Drakari's identity is that they're the fastest and they're the most fragile. And I think a lot of the time now, it feels like Drakari are always the most fragile, but actually most of these detachments aren't fast, which is slightly annoying. I think the Witch Cult's fast, and the Witches are amazing, and a shout-out, Spectacle of Spite is a really cool and obnoxious detachment that people are going to hate playing against because the tricks in there are really annoying. But actually, Cartel is not fast. Real Space Raiders has its fire and fade nonsense, but otherwise is not fast. And Coven. I mean, Coven not being fast is fine because it's Coven, right? But I think there is an element. Some aspects of their identity have come back. I think it's nice to see disintegrator cannons be a relevant weapon again. That actually rounds out a gap in their arsenal. So they feel good. They feel good. I remember you lighting you up with disintegrator cannons. That was such a good time back in the day. God, and they are legitimately good again.
But does it get scored down because people are leaning back into Reaper's Wager?
I think, I think that's a pure competitive thing. I think what I would say is, I think you absolutely can make viable and thematic lists with the detachments that are solid. Reaper's Wager probably is, because it's the Gladius for Drakari, right? It probably is still the best one. And yeah, I'm trying to work out where it sits. I don't think it's bad. I'd be interested to know what others think, having had a read of it. I do think it's good.
I think the issue with the speed is more of a fact of this not being the edition for flying vehicles.
I think you're exactly right on that.
Which is not necessarily the fault of Codex, to be fair. I think they've tried to add in a lot on the transports. Like the Raider does so many things now.
The Raider is nuts, yeah.
And I think there's some disappointments, obviously, in the code. I think losing a lot of the Coven stuff, I think, leaves a big hole.
Yeah, if I had Grotesques in this book, I'd be a very happy boy. I think that's fair to say.
Have you seen the Legends data sheet for them?
They are wild in Legends. Yeah.
Which is I'm
going to take 12 of them to Saffron Slam, and I can't wait.
I'm just thinking of my birthday party, which is going to have Legends, and Tom's just going to turn up with this jank. Oh god.
Yeah, it's a shame Scourges are still really good. There's a letdown for me because there've basically been 2 or 3 units of them in every list, every whole index. And they're still good. Nothing to do with the fact that they screw over my armies particularly hard. Nothing to do with that at all. I guess the big question I have for it is, and I don't know this because I'll have to ask you, Tom. Is the new army rule better or worse than it was in the index?
I think it is more interesting, and I think it is more technical. But I don't think it's better, because I think being able to reroll everything and get additional AP in melee is pretty good. That's a pretty good thing to be able to do.
So it's more thematic, but less.
Yeah, I think so. I think what's nice is it unlocks. It does have. It's a bit like with the Eldar, but where each unit feels hyper specialized. It lets you have that feel, right? There is a thing you can unlock that takes your unit up another level, makes it even better at what it does. And I think the way that, because a lot of the activations for using those things now, you can kill a thing, get a thing, then spend it on something else. That's nice. It's not that like, I spent it all at the start of my phase, I didn't kill something, and now I've run dry, I'm screwed. You can sort of work to cascade your pain tokens a bit more, so I like it in that sense. I think, I'd be really interested to see how this one plays out over the next few months and exactly where it ends up. I think it is good. I think good Drakari players will enjoy it. I don't think people will flock to play it. I don't think it's going to. Maybe Witch Cult. Maybe Witch Cult will draw some meta chases in.
It's a faction that's got a lot of mains though, so when you do see those people committed to it, it means that they stick to it.
Right? I've enjoyed, like I had enjoyed I played some Cabal, I played some Witch Cult, I haven't played I need to play Coven and Real Space Raiders, but like I'm enjoying the differences between them, and there is stuff you can do. And as I say, I think the main thing is just that you can mix and match different Coven, Witch Cult, and Cabal stuff and feel fairly happy with it.
I do think in terms of like theme, and I think you're very well served for each of the different like flavors of Drakari with the detachments.
Yeah, I agree with that. They all feel very relevant. Right?
Yeah, even if they're not necessarily all competitively balanced against each other, I think they're all still fairly solid. I mean,
it's like there isn't. I can't name a bad unit, right? There's not a bad unit in the book. There's not a unit.
It's probably in B tier then, right?
Yeah,
that sounds like classic middle of the road army.
Yeah, I think so.
Is it better than Marines?
I think some aspects of what it does, I would like it to be a bit better at, but I think it is very good. I think you could probably have it. I reckon probably sitting just behind Emperor's Children, which would be appropriate.
Yeah, I'd say ahead of Marines.
Ahead of Marines, behind Emperor's Children, because they nicked all our rules. So we'll go behind Emperor's Children. That'd be good. And that I think, as I say, I think it will have a decent lifespan. This, it'll be interesting to see how it gets on. But I am definitely missing some of those units for sure. Cool. Okay, and then we've got a couple of things left in our bargain basement there. John, do you want to comment on this?
Well, one of them's not a codex because that's Deathwatch.
Okay.
So we don't really need to cover them realistically because they aren't a codex.
No.
And then demons, same. They're just.
I think
indexes,
demons
right?
is worthy of comment.
Yeah, I think so
Because
it's
I
playable,
think
right?
demons have been given excellent rules.
Yeah.
I don't know what the others think. I think the demons detachments have been served. Demons have been served phenomenal.
They
rules.
have. They've had so much. Like
They've been served phenomenally. Go on, Chris.
Well, no, I
Resuscitated.
just like they've just had loads of stuff, haven't they? Like,
Yeah.
so clearly, GW feeling guilty, so they've just been like, well, we'll just keep feeding them this decent stuff, and they've had some pretty cool rules, and they've consistently been there or thereabouts, right? They've, like whenever you go to like ITT, lots of teams take demons. Like the big monsters have been good. We've all had to try and deal with the stupid Great Unclean one.
Oh god,
and,
that
or
stupid
not.
guy.
Obviously,
Fine.
the Slanesh detachment was buck wild. The Tzeentch
exactly,
one's fun.
right.
The Nurgle one is very Nurgle. It's
Oh,
frustrating.
Yeah,
Tzeentch
like
one
the
was
no one's
great.
good, right? Like,
Yeah, and the
Have a
corn,
reroll.
the corn one, the Tzeentch. Do you remember that back rep Jack and I did? That is so fun. So I played Tony Chu was testing that recently, and me and him had a game, and he kept trying to offer me rerolls. I was playing Drakari, and I was like, I don't think I'll take any rerolls, thank you. On my 6-up inruns, I think I'll just let you run out, and unfortunately that'll be the way because I do not win this exchange.
The corn detachment's great as well.
Yes, the corn one is super cool, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack, what you saying?
I was just going to say that they're all thematically fantastic, right? The only problem is that they end up just affecting a relatively small section of your army, whereas the Bellacore one and the Index one affect everything. And as good as the stuff in those detachments is, none of it's really better than 6-inch deep strike and charge.
Yeah, that's a competitive
10th
balance
edition,
problem,
the
for
detachment.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think if this had come out as a Demons book, if all those detachments had come out, like if Slanesh as it was, Blood Legion, Scintillating, Nurgle, and Incursion had come out as a codex, I would honestly have ranked it as probably one of the best codexes of the edition.
I guess as well, just because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, because we complained a lot about Death Guard having 6-inch deep streak and charge. So I just kind of want to clarify that statement, right? So it's okay for demons to have it because that is part of their
it's a big part of their identity.
Yeah. And the same thing, it's fine for Grey Knights to have it because it's a huge part of their faction identity, them deep striking. But it doesn't work for Death Guard because it's not a big part of their faction identity. But I think it does create a problem in demons where it's only in one detachment, so it means that no matter you can't really make anything that's better than that in another detachment, which is a real shame. So I personally wouldn't have it in there. I think it's kind of suffocating the other.
I definitely think on a competitive sense that's absolutely true.
But
we didn't even talk about Shadow Legion, which is also fantastic. Shadow Legion is absolutely fantastic, and again feels incredibly different and works the CSM allies in. I think I would like to put them in because I actually think on their rule set they're an S tier. I would say if you pulled all of those detachments together and said that was a book, you would say that was an S tier set of rules. And I think given it might be the last time we ever have demons, it's probably worth recognising that and bunging that in. I don't know what others think.
I think it's fair. They're always a problem, but they're always enjoyable to play against, which I think is a really good sign for a faction.
Chuck them in there, John, then delete Deathwatch because nobody cares.
Who?
So where are we putting?
Bung them in S tier, mate. I think they're in S tier. I think they're probably bottom of S tier, but they're in there.
Yeah.
I think they are one of the defining rule sets of this edition, and they weren't even a codex. Cool. They were fantastic. Okay, sick, cool. That is us. That is our codex tier list, guys. I've seen some comments coming through. Some of you agree, some of you don't. I love that. Nice to have some debate. And it'll be really interesting to revisit this and look ahead as we go into future editions and see where they all end up in the future. But it might be that when we do a full retrospective on the edition, we feel differently. But I think it's been a good edition for rules writing. I think some of the books, as we've seen, there have been some absolute clangers. But there have been a bunch of interesting codices as well. Some really cool rules out there as well. So we'll see whether 11 makes it more complicated or not. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it adds some more layers.
War gear.
Wonderful. It's getting late, guys, so we'll call that a day. But you've been amazing. Do hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you again next time. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.